Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about JMeter and how to use it as a performance testing tool. I'll talk about its license and distribution, give a brief description of the tool, explain which stages of testing can use JMeter, its features, and finally conclude with a demo. JMeter is licensed under Apache and it's an open source software. JMeter is developed by Stefano Mosacci. It was primarily developed to test Apache Tomcat performance. Later, it is redesigned to JMeter with a new GUI. JMeter is a Java desktop application with GUI built using Swing. So JMeter can run on any environments which accepts JVM. Why do we need to use JMeter? Suppose there are 100 users trying to access Gmail server, then server load increases and it affects performance. For this reason, performance testing has to be done before releasing any server or web services. JMeter is one such tool which provides various features for performance testing. How JMeter works. So JMeter it creates a request to target server by simulating multiple users. So server responds, then JMeter saves all responses and creates reports from the saved responses. JMeter it is primarily designed for performance testing and load testing, but later it is extended to perform functional testing of APIs. So what are the features of JMeter? It is an open source software with a user-friendly GUI, and it supports multi-threading by creating multiple users requesting for the server. It supports multiple protocols like HTTP, FTP, etc. And there are many other features too that I'm not going through this video. So what are the JMeter components that we need to understand in order to use JMeter for performance testing? So test plan. Test plan it is like a container which holds sequence of steps that should be executed while running JMeter. Thread group. So using this component we can create users who simulates the request to target server. And then we have sampler. Sampler is basically used to configure what kind of request that is to be sent to the server. So the request could be HTTP, FTP, JDBC or anything such that. And we have listener. So listener is basically helpful for viewing results in different formats like trees, graphs, tables, like so. Let's now look through the demo of JMeter. In this demo, we'll see a sample HTTP request and FTP request. HTTP request is sent to a Fresno State website homepage, and we have another HTTP request for the REST API, dummy REST API. And we also have an FTP request for uploading and downloading a file, and we will look through the performance of these servers through the results. Let's start with the demo. So for this, you need to have your JMeter installed on your machine. I have JMeter installed on my machine. So I installed using brew install JMeter, and I have this set up on my machine. So I'll just give JMeter through command line so that I get JMeter GUI through which I should be able to do the performance testing on REST APIs and web server. So this is how JMeter GUI looks like. So in the left pane you see test plan, so which is the way through which you should be able to create the test plan. As discussed in the slides, we have few important components that we need to understand in order to use JMeter. So the first one is test plan. So test plan here is just creating a sequence of steps or sequence of requests that we need to create in order to hit a target server. So for now, let me just start without creating a test plan and give a name to this test plan. So since I'm testing a Fresno State website, let me give it as Fresno State as a test plan. And I'm ready to create a test plan. So in this, right click on the test plan, and you have an option of add threads, and you have a thread group over here. So the thread group, give the name of the thread group as users, and the number of threads here represents the number of users that you are simulating in order to hit the target server. I'm giving it as 5, and the ramp up period here is the time that JMeter takes in order to create the users. I'll give it as 3, and the loop count is how many number of times each user should be run, and I'll leave it as 1 as a sample. Okay, so you're ready with your thread group, and now you should be creating a sampler kind is of HTTP request. So the HTTP request here is the Fresno state homepage. I'll give it as a homepage, and you need to give up this details of the website that you're trying to hit, either the server name or IP address, port number, protocol, and the type of the request. The server name over here would be the Fresno state, so it would be like www.fresnostate.edu, and the path is the homepage that we are trying to hit. So this is the configuration for HTTP request homepage, and then now you need to give up the last important part, listener. So listener is the format in which you want to view the results of the request. I'll put it as view results tree. So you don't need to provide any other information over here. If you want, you can customize it. So now I would be running this Fresno state request. So it's asking me to save the plan. Yes, let me save the plan in desktop, test Fresno state JMeter. Okay, and the test has run. Let's see the results. So the results are success. You can see the green over here, and the home page returned success for the 5 users that we have simulated. Okay, so let's now create a HTTP request to the REST API and check how its performance goes. So for the same number of users, that's another sampler of HTTP request. Let's name it as REST API. Should provide the server details. So I have those server details over here. So give the server name. So the server name is gestal.com, and the rest of the part goes into the path. And I'll just get the total number of employees over here rather than getting a single employee through a get method. Okay, and let me give the listener type, the format in which you want to view the results. Let me again use the results tree over here. So since that we have the previous results, let me first clear those results, clear all, and run back the same. The home page, 5 requests are going on, and for the REST API, you see the 5 API requests went to the server and all of them are successful. Let's now create an FTP request, and once we have the FTP request created, let's increase the number of users for each kind of request and see how the performance varies for each server. So creating an FTP request, create another sampler, FTP request, name it as FTP request. Name it as an FTP request, and you had to provide the server name, the FTP server you're trying to hit. So I have that sample public FTP server that I'm using over here. So this is the sample FTP server, which is a free server that you can use for testing purpose. I'm giving the server name And then I would perform the put request over here. That is, you upload a file onto the FTP server. So the remote file location would be, I wanted to store my data on response.txt file in the remote server, and the data that I wanted to put onto the response.txt is, let me put the request dot text path in response.txt folder location of this FTP server. This is a put request. Let me again add the listener and choose the same format. Let me clear all the results of previous requests and rerun the result test. FTP request over here shows that this is a private stream, no anonymous login. I need to provide the username and password over here, which I have saved to this FTP server. Give username and the password. And let me clear all the results previously saved and rerun. Let's see the results. So the requests are still going on and the FTP request seems to be error. Login authentication failed. Let me check back the passcode. Of the FTP server that's getting continuously changed. Command V. Okay, let me retry this. Yes, there seems to be the login authentication error, but now I have changed the password and it worked fine. If you could see, the FTP request became successful. These servers and APIs are responding success when we are trying to hit this target servers using the 5 users. Let's now increase the number of users trying to hit the server and check the performance of this server API requests as well as the Fresno State homepage. Let's now increase the number of users to 20 and loop count to 2. So that we are actually posing out 40 requests to these target servers. Let's first clear all the responses before and start run again. So as you could see, the number of requests at the top of the screen. So the home page seems to be consistent, giving up all success responses, and the REST API also is giving success responses consistently. And FTP request, if you could see, the server seems to be inconsistent. It's sometimes giving success and it's sometimes giving the error. This shows that the performance of this FTP server is not consistent and this can be improved. So this is the performance testing that can be done using the JMeter. There are many other type of requests that can be handled using the JMeter, such as JDBC and XML request or SOAP request. Thank you.